Hello and welcome to another special episode of Brit Does Baseball Does podcast. It's the trade deadline special. I'm here with Gaz. How you doing, Gaz?
I'm good. Yeah, this is gonna be a quick one tonight because it's quite late, and this is part two of our trade deadline special. Yesterday, we're recording this the day after everything took place. What an exciting evening for baseball, eh?
Yeah, it's by far the best trade deadline in sports. So much happens. Just feels like things are happening all the time, and even like middle tier guys getting traded feels very exciting. Can't say that about other sports, I don't think.
Yeah, it came thick and fast as well. Like there was a few, like the Scooble trade, the Peralta trade happened early, and then it just kind of. I think Luis Ariz trade was announced at like 2 o'clock British time, and then it was just everyone seemed to be getting traded. It was quite exciting.
Yeah, I had a great time just watching. We were in the group chat, obviously. I was looking at prospects left and right, deciding whether or not I was happy or sad minute by minute. I'm sure you were doing the same. The Cubs were busy.
Yeah, we acquired a fair few guys. We got Kevin Gaursman the after we finished recording that came out overnight, so I was pretty happy heading into deadline day, and then a lot of stuff happened. We'll touch on it all.
Yeah, we might as well start there. We're talking winners and losers, and the Cubs are on my list of winners. They obviously acquired Clay Holmes from the Mets, Kevin Gaursman from the Blue Jays, Braxton Garrett, and also Ryan Zefferjan. Is that how you say it?
I
From the
think it is,
Angels.
yeah.
And Tyrone Taylor in that Clay Holmes trade as well. But they gave up good prospects from, as far as I can tell. You'll be able to tell me more. But Jefferson Rojas, Moises Ballesteros, and Jonathan Long. How are you feeling about it?
It's a bit sad, right? So speaking just more like Jefferson Rojas, who we gave up to the Mets for Clay Holmes and Tyrone Taylor, he was our number 2 prospect. I think he immediately goes in as the Mets number 1 prospect.
He does, yeah. By a long way.
Yeah. I didn't see how he was going to make the big team, the big league team, because he's a shortstop. I think he's in AA currently. He'll probably go to AAA immediately with the Mets. But we have Swanson, Horner, Bregman locked up for years, right? We've got Matt Shaw, who's currently injured. We've got Pedro Ramirez, who's made his debut this year and has been fantastic. So him getting playing time was going to be tough. So I think we've done the right thing to trade him to a club where he'll probably will get playing time. I'm more upset about losing Moises Ballesteros. I was very big on him coming into this year, and he started the year off with a bang, and then he just he got found out, and he is a catcher by trade, but I think long term he's going to be a DH, potentially a first baseman. But to give him up for Ryan Zefferjan from the Angels, that's a controllable reliever we have until 2030. So, we got a lot for him. But I was quite sad by that one because he was someone I looked forward to seeing, and I was enjoying when he did play. That one tugged at the heartstrings. And then, as you mentioned, Kevin Gaursman the night before the deadline. I'm really excited to see Kevin Gaursman pitch. I'm really excited to see Clay Holmes pitch. Ground ball pitcher, Clay Holmes, strikeout machine, Kevin Gaursman. They immediately probably slot into our 1 and 2 in the rotation. That's how bad our rotation is currently. That we were sort of hanging on by a lifeline. But I'm quite happy with the Cubs deadline, and I think they moved the right pieces.
I think the plan with the starting pitching, if you guys weren't gonna go out and get like a real number one, like undisputed number one, I think this was exactly the right thing to do. Like get a good load of guys who are reliable. I know Clay Holmes has been injured and he's just coming off a pretty gnarly leg injury. But having seen him for the Mets earlier this year, he was just so reliable. He was really good to start the year, like 2.3 ERA, 2.3 ERA, and had started at least 5 innings in every start. Which just really kind of you saw him on the sheet for that day, and you're like, okay, that's going to be good. And I think the Cubs were lacking those guys.
Yeah, I think we've got one of the best defenses in the league, right? So you have a ground ball pitcher. I think it's his career ground ball rate is over 60%. So you whack that defense behind a ground ball pitcher, exactly like David Peterson when we traded for him from the Mets as well. We've made David Peterson look incredible because outside of one start, he's given up like 3 earned runs. So
yeah,
pretty happy. Did you see the Reed Detmers one where Reed Detmers was announced to be a Cub, and then 3 minutes later he wasn't? So
I did see that. Yeah,
I don't know what went on there. That was quite funny. That was a little bit of a shithousery on deadline day.
Yeah, I mean the Angels were big sellers, which nobody expected, but obviously not Detmers this time around. But yeah, I'm super high on this. I was listening to another podcast earlier about the deadline, and they obviously, because you guys have, probably 6 starting pitchers who could be part of the scheme or the system going into the playoffs. Whether you guys you just piggyback every single start, just do 3 innings and 3 innings from everyone, and just try and outsmart teams. Could that be an option, you think?
Probably not in the wild card because it's such a short series. I think that one you'll probably see. Well, again, I was listening to the Locked On Cubs podcast, who obviously just Cubs focused, and they were saying you've now got the pitches to play to the conditions, right? So if the wind's blowing out, Clay Holmes, ground ball pitcher, Kevin Gaursman, strikeout merchant. If the wind's blowing in, suddenly Shota Imanaga becomes playable because he'll just give up fly ball after fly ball. It's just going to die in the wind. So maybe in the longer series, I think it's maybe one of the only ways we can beat the Dodgers in a 5 or 7 game series, or even the Brewers. But yeah, if I was to give the Cubs a grade, I think it's got to be an A. I think it's got to be an A. Yeah. I would have liked to. Tyrone Taylor has been mashing lefties, so he'll probably now platoon with Ian Happ. Thank fuck. But I would have liked a controllable starter better than someone like Braxton Garrett. If we'd got a Reed Detmers, that takes it to the A plus for me.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I'm very sad to see Tyrone Taylor go. I hope you guys look after him, and I hope he comes back to the Mets one day. He really loved being a Met, and that made me feel bad when he got traded. And he was so clutch in 2024, and plays every position in the outfield. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, we'll try our best. Yeah, so we've got the Cubs as a winner. Who else have we got as our biggest winners of the deadline?
I've grouped in these two as just good buys teams. I've got the White Sox and the Guardians. So the White Sox brought in Luis Castillo, Huascar Brazaban from the Mets, Jose Urquidy, is that how you pronounce it, from the Pirates?
Sure.
And Joey Bart from the Braves. And then the Guardians, I think even more impressively, brought in Joe Adell from the Angels, Foster Griffin from the Nationals, and Nathaniel Lowe from the Reds, who I think will all contribute. And even Joe Adell, who's not living up to the hype he had last year, if it doesn't work out, they can just non-tender him at the end of this year. So I think that was a really impressive deadline from the Guardians.
Yeah, I like one for the White Sox as well. They also got Brenton Doyle, and I know we kind of discussed the White Sox a little bit more with the Castillo trade on the part 1 of the deadline, but it's just nice to see the White Sox buy in. For all the misery that they've gone through as a fan base, they've gone out and got a reliable pitcher. I know he's not been great this year, but Luis Castillo can hold it down. They've got a bit more bullpen help. But I like what they've done. I don't think you can, if you're a White Sox fan, I think they've done well. I'm really, really high on the Guardians deals. I think they're going to slip under the radar until they appear in the playoffs and inevitably get bounced by the Yankees in the DS. But the Foster Griffin deal, I think is good. They gave up four prospects for him. That's how good Foster Griffin has been.
Yeah,
he'll be a free agent this year, so he's a pure rental. Nathaniel Lowe, platoon option for them. Joe Adell, as you've mentioned, could be a game changer for that Guardians club who are trying to chase the White Sox down. I think these are as you said, I think these are like sneaky good. Like they're under the radar. They're all solid players. They're going to raise the floor of those teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're not in the winners list, but speaking about that Foster Griffin trade, I think what you could be positive about from a Nationals point of view is like there's clearly a plan. They got 3 pitchers back from the Guardians for Foster Griffin, and they got 4 pitchers back from the Yankees in that trade as well. So they're just trying to acquire loads of young arms and see what they can do. And they've clearly been really serviceable with their hitters this year. So if they can sort out the pitching, then they might be pretty exciting.
Yeah, you trapped the Connolly early for Curtis Mead trade as well, which happened. I'm very high on Connolly early. I don't know why the Red Sox let him go, but yeah, I think the Nationals, they had what we call would build for the future, right? They've done well from this deadline with the prospects they've got.
Yeah, I think they're hot enough with the bat as well that they could still do something. Not anything major, but at least be exciting. Yeah. So then the next group of winners I'm calling value sellers, the Cardinals and the Orioles. The Cardinals got an incredible return from the Brewers for Dustin May and Jojo Romero. They got Alexander Frias and Josiah Ragsdale, who were like really high. I didn't know them, obviously. I'm not a prospect guy like that, but were really high on the Brewers prospect list. And that's a prospect list you probably want to take from. And then they also got Daniel Egan from the Diamondbacks for Lars Nootbaar, who really wasn't contributing through injuries and everything else. And then the big sellers, the Orioles, get back an absolute king's ransom for Adley Rutschman. 3 of the Red Sox top 5 prospects. I mean, that was just crazy.
Yeah, for what? A year and a half of Adley Rutschman?
Yeah, it's control, but it's not much control.
No, I mean, they also gave up Carlos Narvaez, so that's the Red Sox probably better catcher because I think he's better than Connor Wong. That was probably the biggest deal of the deadline. I'm surprised that the Orioles dealt him to someone else in the AL East. I'm a bit shocked by that. You don't see many clubs do that. I know we've had a few deals that we'll touch on, but yeah, this was just a huge pull for the Orioles. And again, I think they had to trade him ultimately. And I like Rutschman on the Orioles, but Basayo has been sort of the main man. They weren't going to extend him, so this could be Gunnar Henderson in a year's time, right? This sort of deal.
Yeah, 100%. And also sending what's his name in the outfield to the Mariners? Taylor Ward. Yeah, who has had crazy average this year, but has not really got a lot of power. I think, that's a smart move as well. I don't love, it's a bit sad for the Orioles because obviously they have this really young core with Gunnar, obviously, like you're saying, and Adley and all the other kind of guys that they're now breaking up. But it probably won't hurt them in the future with all these, good prospects they're getting back.
Did you see that they also traded Jake Rogers? So they acquired Jake Rogers from the Tigers. He played like 3 games for the Orioles, and they immediately sent him to the Red Sox as well.
Yeah. The life of a ball player is unenviable sometimes. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Connor Wong. Speaking of the Red Sox, one trade I want to touch on because I don't know if you have the Red Sox as a winner or a loser. So if I'm jumping the gun, feel free to tell me to shut up. But giving up Marcelo Meyer for Eric Miller to the Giants, like a reliever for who was the number 2 prospect in all of baseball, like even last year, I think that's an absolute wild trade. I think Buster Posey's done a madness there.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I know Meyer has had his injury problems and had kind of gone from being like that untouchable guy, like you're never going to trade that guy, to going to like, well, I mean, he's not really performed. Can he really hack it? What can we get for him? But like you say, the fall from where he was to where he is now is kind of crazy. And I think the Red Sox and the Orioles, they're kind of on that line between winners and losers, like depending on how you look at it. Like, I think the Orioles are winners in what they got back, but in terms of expectations for this year and then going to selling one of their biggest, pieces is obviously kind of a loss. And same with the Red Sox, they got Adley Rutschman, but they had to give up so much, and obviously losing Meyer as well.
Yeah, a bit of like all of the AL East clubs, apart from the Rays, I think had weird deadlines. Like the Blue Jays they were obviously selling, but they also bought at the same time. They had a bit of a weird one. The Yankees, I'm pretty sure the Yankees are in the losers list.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Orioles went fire sale, and the Red Sox went scorched earth and just bought everyone. So bit of a weird time to be in the AL East, I think.
Yeah, I liked with the Rays. I think the Liam Hicks pickup was really smart. He's been really good for the Mariners this year.
That's probably my my under the radar one. Liam Hicks has been really good for the Marlins this year.
Yeah, Marlins, sorry, not Mariners. Yeah, no, he has. And I think like with the Peralta thing, obviously he's not had a good year, but if anyone was going to fix him, it would maybe be the Rays or the Brewers, somebody like that.
Yeah, and then just touching on the Blue Jays, we could have a potential switcheroo. So prior to last week, Jameson Taillon was on the Cubs. We DFA'd him. The Blue Jays picked him up. We then traded for Kevin Gausman. I don't know how the rotations work out, But Kevin Gaursman, so we've got a one-off game against the Blue Jays on Thursday because it got rained out previously. You could feasibly have Jameson Taillon pitching for the Blue Jays and Kevin Gaursman pitching for the Cubs against their former teams because Gaursman will be on regular rest. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it could be the most wild switcheroo problem. Stay tuned. This might actually happen.
That is like the highest ERA box office starting pitcher matchup that there's been all year.
There will be home runs, and Taillon will be given up, and I will be cheering.
Yeah. Taillon was Whenever I have watched the Cubs this year, and Taillon has been on the mound, it's not been pretty.
It's been good. It's been good batting practice. It's the equivalent of Justin Robleski against the Cubs from last night, who was just. I think the Cubs got 4 home runs off of him. So
yeah, I watched that because you put it in our group chat, and it was not. It was not good from a Dodgers point of view.
It's cathartic because we're immediately going to face Tarek Skubal in his Dodgers debut tonight, so they'll tie it.
Do you know what though? Wouldn't it just be beautiful if it was a repeat of the night before? Wouldn't that make everyone happy?
It would be fantastic. And also, we're not doing the roundup this week. I think Cal's doing it, but I don't think he'll touch on this. Carl Tucker returning to Wrigley Field got booed out the place.
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, he's just not had a good year. Really. I was sad at the time when the Mets didn't get that contract done, but thank God. I mean,
I was going to say 60 million a year for less home runs than Michael Conforto, or the same number.
Yeah, no, insane. I mean, he'll come alive in the playoffs, no doubt, and they'll win another World Series.
Yeah, but it won't be thanks to Carl Tucker.
No. Then, in the winners. I want to touch briefly on the sellers, the big sellers, being the Mets, the Giants, and the Angels. I guess I'll speak more about the Mets just because of who I am. But for Clay Holmes and Tyrone Taylor, they did get Jefferson Rojas, who, as you said, is our new number 1 prospect. Like you said, maybe he'll go to AA, maybe he'll go to AAA. It kind of depends on what they want to do with Mitch Voigt, who is the other infield prospect we have, who is having a really good stretch at the moment. Whether they move one or both of them to another infield position or whether they kind of stagger them, who knows? But that's really exciting. And then for AJ Minter, we traded him to the Twins, got a couple of prospects. Luke Weaver to the Pirates is a really interesting one because we had to eat a ton of salary to do it. And I think Mets fans were thinking, like, why on earth? He's been so good this year. He has been absolutely nails, really clutch, right attitude, thrived in like a big market. But, reading more about it, it sounds like the extra year of control actually hurt the Mets just because of how bad he was last year on the Yankees. Teams are kind of thinking, well, is this a one-off? Do we want to have this guy under control next year if he's not going to be good?
I think you guys got fleeced in that deal because I think you're paying $6 million of his salary if I read
next year. Yeah, which I don't understand at all. That one really confused me. And reading that justification that the control hurt them, I was like, yeah, but he's been so good this year. Why wouldn't you want that guy for another year? Yeah, crazy. But the only saving grace of that is we got a guy back, Sammy Stafura, who I'm not saying he's a perfect prospect, but is like the biggest Mets fan in the world. Apparently, he has like followed the Mets since he was a kid. He's like messaged them on Instagram being like, let me throw out the first pitch when he was like 12 years old. There's pictures of him at games. He's already like going on Mets podcasts to talk about how happy he is to be a Met. So yeah, big fan of that.
That's nice. Do you reckon he was just desperate to get out of Pittsburgh as well?
that might be the case. Yeah, there'll be different moods and the Luke Weaver and Sammy Stafura flights. But yeah, you got to be happy for him. Even if it comes to nothing, he'll at least have lived his dream a little bit.
Because you spoke about the Mets, let me just quickly touch on the Angels, and then I will do my best cow impression for the Giants. So the Angels, for however long I've been a fan, should have been sellers every single year and weren't. And for the first time, they sold everyone. Kirby Yates has gone to the Pirates. Ryan Zefferjon came to the Cubs. Brent Suter went to the Braves. Joe Adele went to the Guardians. Jose Soriano went to the Blue Jays. and one we missed out the other day. Chase Silseth and Logan O'Hoppe went to the Rangers. So I think for the first time they had a new interim GM in, and sometimes you don't know if they're going to be permitted to make all of those moves. But good on the Angels for actually selling, because you can't just keep running the same team out there year in, year out, because you are where you are. You're currently sitting with a losing record, the worst record in baseball, and you could feasibly lose 100 games this year. So good on them for, cleaning house a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the right move. It's good to see, like, with the new front office that they are like willing to do that. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Obviously, like, they're losing guys with good upside, like Joe Adele, but he was, not tied down for the next year, so it all makes sense. This will set them up better. And the guy they got back from the Blue Jays for Soriano, Aryan Namala, is a really highly rated prospect. So we'll see how that goes.
I've heard good things, shortstop. And then I'll try and touch on the Giants in my best cow impression. I hate Shohei Ohtani. So I'm just getting in the mood. Hate Shohei Ohtani, hate the Dodgers, Smurfs. Yeah, all right, I'm in. The Giants, again, they traded Heliot Ramos away, which I think they should have done in the offseason, but finally did. We've spoken about the Marcelo Meyer, Eric Miller deal. Robbie Ray went to the Padres. Tyler Marley went to the Braves. The Braves, I think we're going to have them in the losers when we get to them. But Luis Arias and Caleb Killian also went to the Phillies. So they kind of sold everything that didn't have a longer term contract. I think they would love to have moved one of Adames, Devers, or Chapman. I personally would have probably looked to have moved Chapman of the three, but I think he's got the no trade clause. But it's been a bit of a weird week for the Giants. I think they've done well on this deadline on the whole, but they're also currently sitting with a centre fielder who, with an injured foot, proceeded to get drunk and have a scooter accident in Harrison Bader. So I'm not sure what the future holds for their outfield. I think it's going to be currently Jung-Hoo Lee, Drew Gilbert, and Ron Washington at this point.
Yeah, no, that story is so funny. When the front office is pissed off with a guy, they'll release the entire details of like the speed at which he crashed and which bar he crashed into. But when they like the guy, they're like, oh, it's just a lower body injury, don't worry about it. But I think they're really out on Bader at this point.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if he ever steps foot in a Giants uniform again.
Yeah, my one note on the Giants is that I was in researching for this. The prospects they got back from the Yankees include Henry Lane, who looks really good. He's had injuries, but looks really good. And also Caden Kent, who is the son of Hall of Famer Jeff Kent, 3-time All-Star with the Giants. So I'm sure they'll be happy about that, even if he turns out to be shit.
You're making it sound like it was like Clark Kent from Superman.
Maybe, I mean, Jeff Kent, not too bad.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. As you mentioned, though, some teams really, really did not have the deadline they needed, I think, to compete the rest of the year, especially when it gets to the playoffs. I think those are kind of the losers I've picked out most, as opposed to like weird losers like the A's who just didn't do anything. So first of all is, we might as well go for the Yankees, given we've just been speaking about them. They traded Camilo Doval to the Pirates. Nothing wrong really there. They picked up Luis Garcia Jr. from the Nationals, and also, as you said, Heliot Ramos from the Giants. They gave up quite a lot to do it, including Henry Lane, as mentioned, and they sent a lot of pitching talent to the Nationals. I just think with the injuries they have to Bellinger and Judge and Stanton, and still dealing with injuries in the rotation, I just don't really see how this moves the needle for them in the playoffs.
I think what's going to move the needle for him is getting Aaron Judge back.
There's no timeline still, though, is there?
Yeah, he could be out the rest of this year, feasibly, because even if he was fit now, it's going to take him 2-3 weeks on a rehab assignment. So you'd be looking at early September. And having seen good players play hurt in the past, I don't think they're going to want to risk it. So I like the Luis Garcia Jr. trade. I think their infield was missing a bit of pop. I've seen that Volpe has been optioned to AAA again because he's hit one home run in like 60 games or whatever it is. So
they'll bring him back up for injury. He'll hit another home run, and I'll have to suffer Yankees fans and fucking talking Yanks on my Twitter feed, being like, "Volpe is the future of our shortstop position." No disrespect to talking Yanks or John Boy, but every time Volpe does anything positive once, they're like, "He's got it. This is it. He's finally figured it out."
Yeah, it's I feel a bit bad for him. I feel that, like, getting all the Jeter comparisons. We can talk about this another time. But yeah, it's a weird time to be a Yankees fan, I think.
Yeah, like I definitely agree on the Luis Garcia thing. Like, he has had a really good season with the Nationals, and he looks really promising, and he'll definitely provide a spark, hopefully, to that lineup. But if they were going to compete this year, I don't think this was enough, even with a really strong rotation and, potentially guys coming back from injury. But if they're not going to compete this year, they gave up quite a lot for the guys they did get, especially Ramos. So it feels like a little bit of like an in-between deadline to me.
Yeah. I think of the three losers we have, they definitely did the least, and that's probably why they're a loser. Like, the moves they made weren't bad ones necessarily. It's just like, you're the Yankees. Come on, like, I don't know. I know their pitching has been quite good though. So go and fucking get Kyle Schwarber or some shit. I don't know.
Right, do something cool. I think you could make a similar story, honestly, for the other two, just to different degrees, including the Brewers, who got Bo Naylor from the Guardians, Dustin May and Jojo Romero, as we spoke about, from the Cardinals, who sent a pair of really nice prospects to do that. And then also Antonio Senzatella from the Rockies. But yeah, kind of similar story. Like, I don't know if these guys are really going to move the needle as we get, towards the end of the year. I know Dustin May has potential and is probably better than his ERA this year, but still, it's like, if they face the Dodgers again in the playoffs, this is not going to make a difference for them.
Yeah, it's... See, they really should have gone out and got Scooble, because they didn't get Scooble. Neither did the Rays, but the Rays then at least did pivot to Freddie Peralta. Dustin May this year started off terrible, then went really good, and then finished terrible with the Cardinals. Jojo Romero is a solid left-hander reliever. But again, I can't say he's any better than what they've already got in their bullpen. And then Antonio Senzatella, I think he's having a good year this year, but this is a man that's pitched to a 9 ERA in past seasons. So again, it doesn't really move the needle. They traded for Lance McCullers Jr. and then proceeded to DFA him. They got Cody Hewer in the Bo Naylor trade and then traded him to the Orioles. But the issue I've got is their pitching lab is so fucking good. Like,
yeah,
they're probably going to make Antonio Senzatella win a Cy Young if he stays there more than a year.
Yeah, there's every chance. Yeah, they know how to do it. They've done it many times before. Yeah, the Scooble thing, the more that's coming out about that, it sounds like nobody else really had a chance. There was reporting I saw today that the Tigers called the Dodgers, not the other way around. Basically, Scooble came to them and said, I want to go to the Dodgers. And the Tigers called them and said, what have you got for us? Which in that case, if that, I saw it from, local reporters, not any national reporters. But if that is the case, then, can we really fault the teams like the Brewers or the Rays for not being able to get a deal done? I don't know.
I'd heard murmurings that he wanted to go to the Dodgers. I don't know how. I didn't really put much thought into it. I was more just like, of course he's gone to the fucking Dodgers. But I had heard some whisperings on the old Instagram and Twitter sphere, as you'd call it.
Yeah. It was inevitable, I guess. Either way you look at it, it was inevitable.
Yeah, he'll get extended before December the 1st when the CBA runs out. Trust me, that's my bold. That's not even a bold prediction. That's my prediction for the offseason.
God. Yeah, and then baseball's even more fucked than it was before.
Yep. We're already fucked at this point. It's just cherry on top of the cake, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll move on to the Braves, who I put them in the losers, and then I was in the gym. I was listening to the Athletics Rates and Barrels podcast, and the analytics guys were like, I really like what the Braves did here. They didn't didn't make any like splash signings, but you know, they filled gaps, and the guys they got were better than the guys they have. And I don't buy it. I don't get that, because you know, sure, you know, Lane Thomas and Tyler Marley and Brent Suter, like they are better than what you currently had. But when you reach the divisional round or the championship round against the Dodgers, that's not going to matter. Like it's not really made you better beyond a hit or a, you know, an out here or there, really.
So let me just quickly go through those players that you said, because I think the only one where there's a bit of legit thing is probably the Lane Thomas trade. So the Lane Thomas trade is fair enough. Like they went out and got an outfielder. They needed an outfielder. That's fine. They acquired Joey Bart from the Pirates. Now, Joey Bart's a catcher. So you're telling me he's better than Sean Murphy and Drake Baldwin? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
And then Brent Suter, who has a 4 ERA pitching for the Angels. Okay, that's fine, but he's not going to be better than Robert Suarez in their bullpen. And then Tyler Marley for the Giants, he's got a 5.13 ERA, playing in a ballpark that is extremely pitcher friendly for half of his games being the Giants. So I know they're struggling with injuries, especially on the pitching side with Spencer Strider, Spencer Swellenbach, both out injured long term. But Tyler Marley and Brent Suter, they're innings eaters. That's it. They're not going to win you a playoff game.
No, they really need another piece, and it sounds like Strider might come back before the end of the year, but in what capacity and when? And you know, I get that you're not going to get a starter better than Strider at the deadline, but you've at least got to, you know, plan contingency. What if these guys don't come back? I don't know.
Well,
didn't make sense to me.
You say that, but Clay Holmes, I'd say, is better than Spencer Strider at the moment. Kevin Gausman,
yeah, from what he's shown at the beginning of the year, yeah.
There was at least 4 or 5 names on. I mean, I'm just gonna quickly looking down, and I can think of at least 4 or 5 pitchers I think are better than Spencer Strider at the moment, and both of them went to the fucking Cubs. Like Luis Castillo, maybe not, but he's not far away. Foster Griffin, I think he's better than Spencer Strider currently.
Definitely Foster Griffin, absolutely. Although maybe the Nationals wanted to trade in division, but that didn't stop the Mets sending fucking Brooks Raleigh to the Phillies. So who knows?
Yeah, it's like Dustin May isn't better than him, but you know, there's at least 3 or 4 names on here that I'm looking at where Freddie Peralta, I think, would be better than Spencer Strider.
If they had confidence in him, but
yeah.
Jose
Soriano, who went to the Blue Jays. I don't know. I think there's enough there that I don't buy it. You know.
To give them some credit, actually, I'm just remembering. Apparently, they had a deal in place for Jacob deGrom, but he used his no trade clause to stop it. I think that came from Ken Rosenthal or somebody. So I guess they did try to improve with deGrom, but didn't work out, and they didn't then pivot to another better option.
They could have got Nathan Eovaldi, right, from the Rangers. He didn't end up getting traded.
No. Or Casey Myers, who went to the Padres, would have definitely been a better option. Yeah.
Robbie Ray, who went to the Padres as well. The Padres Padres bought. I was shocked by that.
But they didn't give up anything to do it because their prospects are all shit anyway. I don't know how they do it every year. Their farm system is so broken.
Yeah, the other fun one I saw, Hunter Fiducia went back to the Dodgers after being traded to the Rays. So that was quite fun.
Yeah, I don't know if anything about the Dodgers is fun, but that is fun. That is the list of winners and losers. I mean, I'm sure there's big trades we've missed. We haven't really fully touched on the Luis Arias to Philly trade.
We can quickly touch on the Phillies. I think the Phillies bought well. Brooks Raleigh was good for the Mets. Caleb Killian, who's an ex-Cub, was solid this year for the Giants. their bullpen was a bit of a weakness. Let's be honest, their rotation is. I know Aaron Nola again isn't having a good year, but he's consistent enough. So if that's your floor, they've got a good enough rotation. The Luis Arias one makes sense. Like, I've heard Bryce Harper's probably going to be going back to the outfield.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your thoughts on that with Bohm moving and them shifting the whole infield around.
So what's the plan? Will Arias come in and play second?
Yeah.
So who's moving to first?
So is it Bohm moving to first and oh God, what's his name? Stott moving to third, I think is the plan. But Bohm has been atrocious this year. Like,
I didn't know. Alec Bohm at first. Which doesn't.
Yeah. I think that's what they've said. I might be way off, but I think they've said that Bohm would move to first and Stott would move to third, or at least that's the theory.
Yeah. So Arias at second, Bryson Stott goes to third, Alec Bohm goes to first, and Harper goes to right field.
But how they're so stuck with because Schwarber can't play in the field at all, and if Harper just doesn't work in the outfield, they can't DH him because then you're taking the best hitter in the league out of the DH. So I don't know how that's going to work, really.
Yeah, I'm shocked at the. Yeah, I get. Well, they needed a bat, and I don't know. Do you at this point just get rid of Bohm?
Yeah. I think that's the answer. If they maybe they just felt we're not going to get an outfield bat better than Arias. So if it works with Bohm and Harper, then great. And if not, we just send Bohm down or put him on the bench or whatever.
Yes, if I was them, I'd have maybe put in for Heliot Ramos.
Yeah. Although the Yankees gave up, maybe the Yankees were maybe the Giants were asking for too much. But more than Arias, that doesn't make sense. No. But the Yankees did give up a lot.
No, I'd give more for Arias and Ramos currently.
Yeah.
I think the Phillies ultimately they upgraded their bullpen. They found the missing piece in their positional group. They've kind of cooled off a little bit after they kind of went on a really good hot streak after their abysmal start. We'll see where this lands, and there's probably they're going to be in the playoffs, and then if you face Zach Wheeler in one game of a 3-game wildcard series, it's the equivalent of going against the Red Sox last year, and your first game is Garrett Crochet straight to Ardalis Chapman, our oldest Chapman, and then you get someone like Brian Bayo just completely shit the bed in game 2. So we'll see.
Yeah. I know. I won't channel Cal like you did, but I know he'll be pretty sad to lose Arias. I think he was really hoping they'd extend him.
I think he thinks go play at Philly, have a go. I don't see the Phillies extending Luis Arias. It just doesn't. I think they'd rather go get another outfielder and keep Bryce Harper happy.
Yeah.
So Bryce Harper, go play in the outfield for 2 months, and then you'll be back at first base. Because he's not a bad first baseman, to be fair.
No, and he's had an up year, I think, with the bat this year, at least up on last year. So, yeah, see how it goes from. There's not anything else big we're missing, I don't think. I'm sure there is, but nothing that comes to mind.
No, I mean, breaking news, Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Ryan Mountcastle, and Colton Cowser were all going to go see the new Spider-Man film. But Rutschman got traded. So
they
couldn't go and see it.
That's the human cost of the MLB Trade Deadline.
That's the cost of being a player.
Yeah. That ticket, cinema tickets are not cheap these days.
I'd probably get it for free if they're an Oriole. Maybe they're on a Fire Stick deal. I don't know.
Yeah, they got a dodgy stick. Yeah.
Not that we have at all. We both pay our TV license. We are.
Yeah, I'm such a schmuck. I actually do pay my TV license, and then my mates are like, why are you paying for your TV license?
Yeah, I pay for my TV license. You're not a schmuck. You're a law-abiding citizen.
Okay, nice. Okay, I feel better now.
Fuck the BBC.
Well, because I got the threatening. Sorry, this is soft. I got the threatening letter, and I was like, "Oh my god, they're going to come to my house and arrest me." But I didn't realize that they don't really have any power or jurisdiction.
No, you can kind of just open the. I've had a guy visit me before because when we were renting, it kind of ran out as we were leaving.
Mm.
So I actually got a visit when we were at the end of our tenancy, and I kind of opened the door, and I was just like, and then he left. I was like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. This is fascinating, I bet, for if there's any American listeners, they can learn all about the TV license.
Well, they have to pay like $500 to watch like one weekend of NFL action. So
Yeah,
I still
true.
think we have it better than they do.
Yeah. In many ways.
Should we call it there as we start talking about TV licenses?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
This has been the second half of the Brit Does Baseball Does Trade Deadline special. Won't have any more trade talk after this until the off season, so we'll be back with a Rounders Roundup soon. And thank you for listening. All that's left to say is George has been George, Gaz has been Gaz. BBC are twats, but still better than paying US prices for TV. I don't know. Don't be a schmuck. Pay your TV license. Thank you and goodbye.